Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Millie and I usually post 3 times a week. However, this week I am posting every single day for the week of colour, a little collaborative effort that we are putting together in this little corner of the internet. It isn't just me doing this. A load of different people are taking part in whatever which way they want to. These are the prompts that I am following for the whole week, and I invite you to join in as well if you want to, even if that is just posting a picture on your Instagram, posting about it on your Instagram stories, or just doing these prompts in real life and joining in with me in whichever way you see fit. But in today's video, I feel like this is the one that I have had the most messages about. People being scared. People being like, I don't want to do that. But also I feel like this is quite fun. I feel excited to get into this one. So today's prompt is an eyeshadow look only using one brush. I want to know if you are taking part or not taking part, what kind of brush are you picking for this challenge? What type of brush are you choosing? Because I have chosen this one, which is the Cosmic Brushes CB4. I figured that a tiny little brush that's a little bit fluffy but not too big will lay down a small amount of colour, because I've got a vision of what I want to do. Lay down a small amount of colour, but also where it's a little bit fluffy, I'll be able to buff this out. I am not going to begrudge anyone adding in a finger. You know, patting something on with a finger. I may well have to do that. I don't know how this is going to go yet, but this is the brush that I have chosen, a small little fluffy one. I was considering maybe a bigger one and doing something perhaps a little bit more simple, just like a wash of a colour. I thought, challenge yourself, push yourself out of your comfort zone. And this is one of my favourite brushes of all time, so I've got 2 of them, but I'm only going to be using one. That is the point of this challenge. So I'm going to be using one palette and one single today. So the palette that I'm going to be using is the Arch of Colour, the new Bella Beauty Bar one, because I wanted all of these matte shades. I want to try and create a rainbow, but just with one brush. And then I've also picked out my Pastel Roses singles again, and I want to use this one in the middle, which is called Opal Rainbow, and it is like properly multi-chrome, all the different colours of the rainbow. So let's go ahead and zoom on in and create an eyeshadow look with one brush. So before we start, I want to swatch this shade, because what I'm thinking is I'm going to lay down all of the mattes and then I'm just going to tap this. I might use the brush, but I might just tap this over the top. So I want to take all of the colours from this pan and correlate them to the matte shades that I'm going to use out of the Bella Beauty Bar. So I'm just going to swirl my finger into this. I really enjoy using this shade right on the inner corner as like a pop of a, obviously, beautiful, light, bright, multi-chrome shade right on the inner corner. So let me just swatch this so that we can see all of the colours that we are going to try and work with today. So when it's not catching the light, you like basically can't even see it, but it is a beautiful, I don't even know how you're going to be able to see all of the different colours in it, but it has got so many. Like I can see in the mirror now that that's green. It's at a slightly different angle. I don't know how to show you, but it is so many different colours, so beautifully, beautifully glittery. And that's what I want to use today. And I think that that will sort of disperse out really nicely, whether that just be with my finger or what, I don't know. But that's the vibe. So let's just go ahead. I'm actually just going to get a little bit of toilet paper and have this ready, because I'm going to have to wipe my brush off in between colours. If you had one of those, like, what is it? Is it called a switch? Something like that, or like a microfiber towel, something like that would work very, very well as well. So I already have my Beauty Bay eyeshadow primer on, and let's just dive on in. Let's be brave. Let's be brave. So I think I basically want to go like diagonally across these so that I get a good range of colours. I definitely want like the yellow, the pink, purple, like maybe like this. I don't know, we are just making this up, but I think I need to start with the lighter colour, don't I? Because otherwise the darker colour is going to overtake everything. So let's start with, how do I want to do this? I'm scared. How do I want to do this? Let's start with first light, which is the bright lemon. Start with that one. Where's my mirror gone? Ooh, making a mess. Starting with the lemon shade. And I'm just going to pack that right in here. Also onto the lid a little bit. I really don't know what I'm doing today. I don't have any sort of preconceived idea of how this is going to turn out. I just want to try and use as many colours as possible. But also, I can only use one brush. I'm gonna have to like consciously be like, no Millie, don't pick up another brush. Like I need to tape this one to my hand or something so I can't put it down. And I purposefully am doing my eyes first so that if there's any fallout or anything, I can just wipe it away and do the rest of my face. Hopefully that won't end up being a bad thing. I'm going to go down into Lemon Lift, which is the brighter yellow, and I will put that on the lid. Start to blend those colours together. Wipe my brush off on the bit of toilet paper there. Let's go. I feel like this shade has got quite a bit of pink in it, so I feel like I should try and do quite a bit of pink. So let's go down. Oh, do I want to do that? I don't know what I want to do. I'm going to go into Marigold Mirage, which is the bright orange, which I feel like I've used a ton, but this colour is just beautiful. And then I only want a little bit of this just to help this yellow blend into a pink. I think that rhymed. I didn't mean it to. So just a little splodge of that orange. Now let's go into Magenta Meridian, which is a beautiful, like bright, hot pink. And let's pack that on there. Oh yeah, that'll blend into that orange nicely. Like so. Okay, so we're already getting darker. So I need to think at this stage, do I need to go back into these yellows? I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Right, let's wipe the brush off, and then, not with any more colour on it, but I just want to basically wiggle all of these together. Why did I mean, I came up with these prompts. Why did I pick one that was going to be impossible to do? And also, what am I putting on the lid? Like, I want something on the lid. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just going to go back in with a little bit more of that Lemon Lift. The yellow that I put on the lid. And put more of that on whilst I can before my brush gets too dark. Somebody please tell me why I'm doing this to myself. Right, wiping the brush off again. Right, I want to go into some of the purples. Let's go in with Amethyst Ascent, which is the second purple down. Pop that there. See, now my brush is picking up bits of fluff from my tissue because I'm rubbing it so violently to get the colour off. It's fine. You know what? It's just makeup and it's fun. It's a lot of fun, so we're just here for the fun of it. And we don't have to take ourselves too seriously, thank goodness, because we don't. So let's just wiggle over the pink and the purple. Gone a bit high on this side. That's better. Somewhat symmetrical. Right, I want a green and then a blue. Green. Maybe just a blue. Maybe just a blue. Let's go in with turquoise trail. I'm skipping that green row. Turquoise trail. And let's pack that there. That's dark. Okay. Okay, that is... I might just need to go back in with that purple. Blend this one out a little bit with the purple shade. So again, I've just wiped that brush off and I'm going to go back in with a bit more Amethyst Ascent and tap over the edge there to blend that blue into the purple. I feel like the blue was a mistake. I feel like that's very dark. You're probably looking at this like, that is not dark at all. It's dark for me. Dark for necessarily what I was wanting to do with this look. We will figure it out. I'm also just going to bring that Amethyst Ascent. I brought that blue sort of down to the lash line. I will just tap a little bit of the purple there as well. Yeah, I do like these purple shades. I mean, I like all of them. Obviously, I like all of them, but the purples are... like, it's difficult for me to pick a purple because I just want all of them. I'm very, very interested to see if anybody can do a look with just one brush and it not be... I feel like this is going to end up looking quite sort of watercolory, like all of the colours are going to end up being, like obviously there are the distinct colours, but they are sort of watery into each other, if that makes sense. So I'd be interested to see if somebody can, just with one brush, create something a little bit more graphic or like precise, you know? Because I feel like this is the only way that I had been able to come up with in my head to do a look just with one brush. But then I suppose it depends on what kind of brush you pick. I'm excited to see what other people come up with for this one. I mean all of them, but this one as well. So I think I want to go into a green to put on the lid. So let's wipe again, wipe the brush, and let's go in with Electric Meadow, which is the second green down. And I'm not going to tap that off because I want it to be really nice and intense. It's almost a little bit like you're looking through a prism, or you know, something like that, like light is being refracted. That's the sort of vibe. A little bit. My brush is like all different colours, like it's gonna need a good scrub after this. That's fine, I can scrub it. One more wipe. This piece of tissue is going to be like a piece of art all by itself by the time that I'm done taking, I was about to say taking the same brush. Obviously that's the whole point of the video. Taking that brush again into Lemon Lift, and again just adding a little bit more of that. I feel like now I can go back and sort of really disperse everything out. Like everything's down, the idea is there, and now I can go back in and finesse, you know? Okay, so I think I'm good with all of these matte shades now. I think I'm ready for the shimmer, so let me close that palette and get the Pastel Roses one back up. And I do think, just for ease of use, I am just going to use my finger, and I don't want to cover this, I just want these shimmers to sort of lay over everything, and it'll like intensify the colours a little bit is what I'm thinking. So I'm just going to take that glitter, which is the Pastel Roses Opal Rainbow, and I'm just going to tap over everything really, really lightly. I'm not swiping. What I would usually do with a multi-chrome like this is swipe it, but I don't want to push these matte shades around. I want the mattes to stay where they are. So I'm just tapping to disperse these beautiful glitters. And I feel like the shade underneath is almost being emphasized by those glitters. So I am very, very happy with my choice of shades here. And this is almost making it look a little bit more oil on water. I love this multi-chrome. It is exceptionally, exceptionally beautiful. So I'm just gonna, again, wipe the one and only brush, wipe that on the tissue, and just make sure all of those little glitters are dispersed. I love it. I absolutely love it. So I'm just gonna dip that brush into that shimmer just to get a little bit more right on up on the inner corner, because obviously my nails are too long. I can't get right up in there as much as I want to. Yes, look at that. Look at that. If I actually just get my torch up on my phone. Those shimmers are exceptional. So, so pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up. I'm going to do the rest of my face, and then we can decide what I want to do under the eye. I want to just stick with the matte shades under the eye. But what matte shades, I do not know, but I'm liking how this is looking so far. I will do the rest of my face and I'll be right back. Okie doke, so that is the rest of the face done, and I was just neatening up on the outer corner out here, not with any more colour, but just blending over where I've put like concealer, etc. So I'm going to go back in with the purple that we put down here, because I just think that this blue is going to overtake everything on the lower lash line, and I'm thinking that the purple will be a little bit more flattering. So let's just take, I'm literally dipping my brush like this into into the pan, and I'm just going to wiggle this all the way along the lower lash line, and then I think I might build up that yellow right on the inner corner, and then I think we will probably be done. I'm debating whether or not it would be exceptionally predictable and boring if I were to add a wing. Every single day I do a wing, like in my real life, away from my camera. Every single day I do a wing. I don't feel like my face is right without it. But is that a reason to not do it, so that I get used to my face without a wing, you know? Potentially. We'll see. I'm gonna get more on the inner corner, see if that changes my mind some. So this brush, obviously I used this brush to add more of that shimmer right onto the inner corner, so the shimmer has sort of mixed into that purple a little bit. and I'm not a big fan of shimmer on the lower lash line on me. I just feel like I've got too many fine lines and movement under my eyes, but there's not a lot I can do about that when I've only got one brush. So I'm going to go back in with a little bit more First Light, which was that very, very light lemony shade, and I'm just going to pop a little bit of that right onto the inner corner. Then I might just add a tiny little bit of the shimmer, and then we can figure out if I want a wing or not. Honestly, I want one. I want to do a wing, but I feel like I shouldn't. Just to try and make it a little bit different. Just to try and change it up a little bit, because how boring can one gal be? I've got a rainbow on my eyes and I've used one brush to create it. Let me off if I want a wing, but I think for my own sanity and just to change it up a little bit, I'm not going to do a wing. I'm just going to go in with a little bit more of that Opal Rainbow Pastel Roses shade. Carefully pack that onto the very inner corner. Really intensify it right in there. Tap it out a little bit. And then I think we might just be done. Yeah, I'm happy. I think potentially I would be happier with a wing, but I can hear you screaming at me through my camera. Stop doing a wing in every single look, Millie. It's boring as hell. So I'm gonna do mascara. Let's do a really, really thick layer of mascara. This is just the Primark, I can't remember the name of it, Black Volume mascara, something like that, and then we're done. But first we need a lot of mascara. If you're not gonna let me have a wing, you're gonna let me have a ton of mascara. There we go. So I quite like the contrast actually between the more like pastel-y, like a wash of a watercolour shade. Like it's still very colourful obviously, but it is more sort of diffused watercolour, wash of a colour with the very, very dark, very dramatic lashes. I very, very much enjoy how this one has turned out. I was scared. I was scared, but this just goes to show you don't need a million brushes. You do not need a million brushes. Would 2 have been grand? Absolutely. But you can do it just with one. If you practice and you know what you're doing. I definitely do eyeshadow looks just with one brush, like quite a lot of the time, especially when I'm like just getting ready for work, because you can just use your finger to press on a shimmer, use that brush to blend out an edge. You don't need a lot of brushes. You just need a bit of practice and you need to know what you're doing. But I very, very much enjoy how this one has turned out. Maybe a one brush eyeshadow look should be your homework for this week for look at me setting you homework for like a before bed little bit of a play, or like before you get in the shower. Have a bit of a play, see what look you can come up with just one brush. How brave can you be? How many colours can you put on with just the one brush? That is your homework for the week. Thank you so much. So that is everything for look number 5 for the week of colour. I can't believe we've only got 2 days left. It's gone so quickly. I can't believe we've only got 2 left. So the 2 prompts that we are working on for the next 2 days are an all matte eyeshadow look and an eyeshadow palette bingo with your largest rainbow palette. I was definitely going to do this sort of rainbow effect all matte, but I'm glad that I did it for this so that I could incorporate that beautiful, beautiful shimmer. And I very, very much enjoy how this one has turned out. I feel like out of all of the looks that I've done this week, despite this one being a rainbow, I feel like this is the most neutral wearable. I would wear this. like just for every day at work, I would absolutely wear this. I think that it is subtle enough for an everyday at my work, but I'm married to the boss and I just work in a coffee shop, so maybe the rules of society don't necessarily apply to me. But that is the look. I would love to hear what you think. I would love to hear how you got on if you partook in this prompt. And as always, as I've said in all of the other videos, if you are creating a look for any of these days, please tag me, whether that be on YouTube or Instagram or wherever it is. I want to see your looks. I want to see what looks you've been coming up with. But that is everything for Friday. That is everything for my eyeshadow look, just with one brush. Until tomorrow, thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.